The final game of the day, which will be the IRB's Challenge Cup for women in this first ever tournament beyond the Rugby World Cup, which was played here in 2009. Brazil against Spain. Well, they both have lost in their pool round, and yet, of course, because all these 8 teams will play off tomorrow, so we know what the Cup semi-finals already are, but who's going to be third in Pool A, who's going to be fourth, we'll decide as we have a look at the dominant nation in women's rugby in South America, Brazil, who will play against Spain now, the runners-up to England in the European Championships played in Bucharest earlier this last summer. Spain side then, which has 4 survivors from that Rugby World Cup sevens 2 years ago here when they were in the bowl final, losing to China, and Spain, who were in the plate semi-final, losing very narrowly to England. And just to remind you of, because there were 8 nations playing, in the other pool, England won all their 3 matches, but in case you think it was all one-sided, well, England beat China 26-15. They beat South Africa 22-19. They were 17-0 up. South Africa came back to lead 19-17. England scored at the death to pivot 22-19. And then England were in top form, beating United States 31-0. So United States came runners-up to England, winning 2, losing 1. China lost all 3, but narrowly, and South Africa won 1 and lost 2. Well, it's been a new venture, and a very exciting venture, of course, because alongside the men in Rio 2016 in the Olympic Games, the women's tournament will have just the same presence as the men's. And this is really the start, I suppose, of the build-up to that. Of course, you've got the 2013 Women's World Championship, and then we've got the Olympics.
That's right, and this tournament represents a key delivery of the IRB Women's Rugby Plan announced this week, of course, and which makes a commitment to staging a world-class women's sevens competition at the Olympic Games in Rio in 2016.
Well, we talk a lot about the players, of course. We shouldn't forget the referees, and here we have Bridget Tyler, who's just 20 years young, from Wellington, New Zealand. She's actually been a student at the University of Otago, and at 21 she's today had her first international experience. And this is such an important element about the future of rugby.
And it's worth noting as well, Nigel, which we've noticed Gabby Lee in the past as an assistant referee on the touchlines in Hong Kong. We have 2 female assistant referees here in the men's competition during the day at Dubai.
Well, all an important part of the development of rugby sevens. And here Brazil in fine form. Watch them play Argentina just the year before last, and they've moved on from that quality of the game, the fitness, the skills, which we've enjoyed. And remember how close Spain were in their contest with Canada. Canada now having got into the Cup semi-final, well, Spain could easily have won that. They lost 19-14, and here is Spain in possession now. This is Patricia García from Valence Club, into the hands of one of the 2 sisters, Julia Pla, who's the younger of the 2, and they both play for Maya Honda. But we also have 3 players in the Spanish squad who play for the Richmond Ladies. And it's a world game, just as it is for the men's. When you think of the sides like China and Kazakhstan and the others in this tournament here, it really is a game that is just catching on like a wildfire. Penalty here then to Brazil. This is perhaps their new star, comes from Sao Paulo, number 5 there, Paula Ishibashi. Bit loose on the pass, fed away by Mariana Ramalho, another woman from Sao Paulo. That's an enormous city on the southern edge of Brazil. Oh, it's a dangerous ball here, taken in by Marino Bravo, one of the co-captains. Isabel Rodríguez, the co-captain, who's on the field as well. I'm not sure which has got the precedence or the priority in the Spanish side, but a penalty against Spain and into the hands of Brazil, who building it up well. And here's a big break. Mariana Ramalho. Pass inside, didn't go to hand, breaks down. Ishibashi in support. And I guess the difference perhaps between these two losing out to Australia and Canada is they don't seem to have the equivalent strength up front.
Yeah, Brazil certainly lack the physicality, and the passing isn't as crisp. And you mentioned the fact that Spain narrowly lost to Canada earlier on today. Spain led Canada for the greater part of that game, and it was only late on that Canada came back to clinch it. And when you see Spain with ball in hand, they look quite comfortable. But Brazil, on the other hand, it's all a bit laboured, and it's no surprise perhaps that they've been unable to score a try so far in this tournament. Not so Spain.
And when you read a result like England beating South Africa 22-19, it's a bit like the men's, isn't it? You never know who's going to win against whom. Nothing's predictable. And the development camps now producing results and encouraging so many more to take up the game. And women particularly, I think, find the sevens game easier to pick up and much more freedom for the running and passing.
It's got to be contestant though.
Certainly Brigitte Tyler is very much in control here. And a chance now. Still no score, 5 minutes gone in this first half. Poor scrummage effort that by Brazil. Golden chance really, 10 metres out. But the breakaway, the pace here of Julia Pla, the 25-year-old from the Marca Honda club. Could she go the whole way? Just steps inside Ramalho, and it is going to be the first score of this game. And it's going to be Patricia García. Very good support play, and that's the key. And the fitness levels are now quite transformed from a few years ago.
Mentioned the physicality, or the lack of physicality perhaps, of the Brazilian ladies. Well, they lost out in the scrum in the shadow of the Spanish post down the far end. Barbara Pla brought it away, and Patricia García rounded it off in style. A try for the 21-year-old, and that's the first score of the match.
Julia Pla, the 25-year-old sister, 28. Barbara Pla, been an institution in Spanish women's rugby at 15s and 7s for the last few years. The conversion is good, and with a minute to go, it's Spain who take the initiative, 7 points to 0. So a whole new dimension of rugby sevens, and initiated here in Dubai, which has done so much to build the whole concept of sevens rugby. 41 years ago it all started with the Dubai Exiles and the local clubs on the sand pitches, and now here we are in one of the great stadiums with 50,000 people who've been here today on the opening day, and will be absolutely packed out again tomorrow. And we will be seeing the cup semi-finals and the two finals, the plate final and the cup final itself of the women's tournament, in amidst the playoff of the HSBC Sevens World Series and the 16 nations of men. There's the half-time hooter, with Spain getting that late try here. Still one more play to come though, from the free kick. Brazil, can they come back now? Certainly looking a bit more, well, I was going to say looking a bit more dangerous with the stretching of the ball across the pitch, but that will be the half-time whistle. And so it is Spain, who would certainly have been the favourites to have win this game, having done so closely against Australia and Canada, whereas Brazil were well beaten. But they're still in the hunt, are Brazil, and all credit to them. Spain with their coach, José Antonio Barrio.
Es que es una falta de respeto a la brasileña, cada una jugando su jugada. Vamos a jugar con nuestro juego, con la posesión, con el combate, no cada uno hace su jugada.
I don't speak Spanish, do you? I don't speak Spanish, when do you?
Y faltarnos a nosotros.
No, I'm told it's not too different from Welsh, but I don't understand Spanish, sadly.
And here for Brazil, well, I'm sure those anoraks who know all about sevens rugby will remember the name of Matias Albina, who played for the Pumas Sevens when they won their first title in the men's tournament of the IRB Sevens, as it was called then, in Los Angeles in 2004.
It's worth noting, I think, Nigel, that this is the third game for the ladies as well, and we know the effort and the input and the training that goes into the men's sevens, and it's all about recovery, and it's fairly new territory, of course, for ladies to play 3 games in a day, and it's energy sapping, as we know.
Well, it's the start of the future of the game at international level. Good recovery there by Barbara Pla, down to Maria Casado. And here's the very quick Julia Pla, setting it up for Spain again, beginning to dominate, certainly winning most of the ball away via Laura Esbro. Speed on the wide outside, Barbara Pla cuts it back inside, dragged by Julian Sada. But you begin to sense here that Spain are beginning to dominate, away that time by Elizabeth or Eli Martínez. And here's the speedster, Julia Pla, just saved with a couple of brave defensive tackles. About 15 metres out from the Brazil line, a quick take. That's caught them napping, I think, but great tackle from Julia Sada. The drive on was by Isabel Rodríguez.
10 metres green.
Penalty to Spain. The other thing about referees in sevens, they've got to be mightily fit as the players. They've got to catch up with them when they break. And here's an overlap chance. Oh, a poor pass, well taken by Maria Ribera, one of the Richmond players. Across the field now via Eli Martínez, just short of the line. This time it's Barbara Pla. Desperate moments, and again the saving work of Julia Sada for Brazil, and a penalty. Somehow Julia Sada's got herself on the wrong side of the ball. Surely here, no, another brilliant effort from Edna Santini, the 19-year-old. Managed to keep them out. For how long? They're 3 out wide, must be a try if they don't drop the ball. And there it is. Good work, and it's once more Julia Pla from the Maha Honda club, who gives Spain a real buffer now.
Yeah, relentless pressure being applied by the Spanish ladies here, but solid and resolute defense. Too many of the Brazilian girls committing themselves to the defense close by the posts and exposing themselves out wide. But a try for Julia Pla, one of the stars in this Spanish women's squad, along with her sister Barbara.
Well, one of the lightest players, and 56 kilograms doesn't seem very much, and yet one of the quickest. So it's 12 points to 0, 4 minutes to play. "30 games today, and this is the last of the 30 that we have seen on the main pitch." Conversion just pacing across the posts, but 12-0. And again, tribute to Emirates Airline, who have provided such a wonderful stadium and facilities here at the Sevens, appropriately named for this game. This is Bruno Lotufo. Breakdown again, Bruno Lotufo. one of the members of the Bandeirantes club.
Green one. Stop, green one. Green one.
It's late in the day, isn't it, Nigel? But the game of the Brazilian ladies littered with mistakes. If only they could
Time back on.
retain possession, get the ball through the hands. Very spirited side.
Well, the intensity, the same as the men. They are desperately keen and excited about the prospects of their international game, and quite rightly. Driven on now by Barbara Pla, the elder sister. One more try and they're home and hosed. Good driving on by Vanessa Real of the Zestor Coruna club. 3 from that club in this squad. Away now by Eli Martínez. Crossed the ball, Maria Ribera. And the little speedster again. This is the other Pla. This is Barbara Pla. Still some brave defence, but it's all about defence for Brazil. I think since half-time, they've not got out of their own half. It's really been dominant, this effort by the Spaniards.
And from the side, 7 green.
Well, the familiar penalty coming in from the side, Brazil penalised.
And Barbara Pla on the ball there, Nigel. She, I think, has been the star player for Spain today, without doubt. She's at the heart of everything that's good about the play of the Spanish ladies, and they have more time and more space on the ball.
Yes, and probably the most experienced. He's played in France with the Toulouse club, not Toulouse, but GES at the end, and one of the smaller clubs, but a very thriving rugby club for men and women, and of course one of the members of the Richmond club, the Richmond ladies. And you're right, she has been a dominant force. So we're down to the last 1 minute and 20 seconds. Can Brazil break out and get something on the board? They've certainly battled the best of their day here, certainly in defence most of the time, but here's the big drive now of Aina Cristovam, one of the new members in this 7 new international players in this Brazilian squad. Edna Santini. Can they retain possession into the last minute?
Santini ran away from her supporting players there. She thought she could make it perhaps the long way round to the try line, but she's coughed at possession, and Spain could seal it here, Nigel.
Yeah, with Elizabeth Martinez. She's going to go the whole way to wrap it up, scores under the post, and she too has played a very significant influence, the 23-year-old. And well, you can see here the talent that is on display with the women's sevens game, as you saw in the previous one when Canada edged over the world reigning champions from the World Cup in 2009 Australia. And there, terrific try by Eli Martínez. And that really is curtains for Brazil. A brave defence throughout, but the class on the attack certainly belonged to Spain. And what will be the last play of the day? The conversion is there, and Spain can celebrate their first victory of the day, and the close encounters they have had, losing to Australia 5 points to 12, to Canada 14 points to 19, but now a good win, 19-0 over Brazil, the champions of South America.